Hogan has had about 8 surgeries on his back. And the last time I saw him, I think was at the Raw the Raw 30 or something like that, I believe it was. And I talked to him there. Me and him talked a little bit, and he was on his walker and stuff there. So I don't really think Hogan wants to get back in there. You know what I mean? It's great to talk about it.
Hey, also, there's something else that came up that I've been watching. Hulk Hogan is now saying he wants to face Stone Cold Steve Austin in a retirement match, possibly at WrestleMania 40. Now, during an appearance on the MMA Hour, Hogan had mentioned that Shane McMahon offered him a match for this past WrestleMania, but he turned it down, saying his back needed more work. And when asked who he'd like to face in a retirement match, his response was Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he said the only reason he went back and wrestled The Rock that time was because he wanted to go in and wrestle Stone Cold. But something happened at the same time, and Stone Cold exited the company before he had a chance. Let me ask you guys, does Hogan need to return and wrestle another match?
Well, I don't think so. It ain't like he needs the money. You know what I mean? He's certainly, set with money. I think Hogan is maybe just teasing that a little bit. Hogan has had, I'm not sure, but I was talking to Jimmy Hart, who's a good friend of mine. Hogan has had about 8 surgeries on his back. And the last time I saw him, I think was at the Raw the Raw 30 or something like that, I believe it was. And I talked to him there. Me and him talked a little bit, and he was on his walker and stuff there. So I don't really think Hogan wants to get back in there. You know what I mean? It's great to talk about it. And Stone Cold has been, one of the guys that's really paid attention to his doctors. His doctors told him, if he get back in, that might be his last time. So I think Steve has certainly took his doctor's advice. He stayed out of the ring, and he's got himself involved in something else. You know what I mean? You got to have something to fall back on. This does not last forever. So, and Austin is smart enough to have something to fall back on, so he doesn't have to worry about this. And like I said, Hogan doesn't have to worry about this no more either. I'm pretty sure he's probably set for the rest of his life. So I think it's just a big tease with both of them. I don't see either one of them getting back in the ring, but you know what I mean? You never know in this business. So, but I'm saying to be advised from me, I would just say, guys, let it go. You don't need it.
Yeah, the thing that worries me the most is that I remember Hogan's last match as being the one where he faced The Rock. That's the last big image I have of Hogan wrestling. And I'd hate to think that my last memory of Hogan would be seeing him, just kind of meandering around a ring, not really taking bumps, looking less like Hogan than what I remember. I think he's better off just leaving it alone. Bill?
Yeah, and I think he's going to leave it alone.
Well, you know something, brother. All the maniacs, man, would love to see the Hulkster come back. And NWO, Hollywood Hulk Hogan is the one that they want to see. But like Teddy said, all the surgeries he's had, he had a cane with him at Raw 30. Teddy and I both saw him backstage. I don't want to see the Hulk Hogan that might be a carbon copy, hopefully not, of what Ric Flair did in his last match. Right. That's not the Hogan I want to remember. I want to remember the red and yellow. I want to remember the NWO. I want to remember Hogan the way he was in the ring during his prime days. And even when he started to slide a little bit, it still wasn't horribly bad. But the current situation with Hulk Hogan, and I understand he's working out and everything, and he looks marvelous. I don't want to see that unless, you get a promoter like Conrad Thompson that got Flair back into the ring to do something like this. And Stone Cold, I just think, like Teddy said also, he's set financially for life, but there's always, even though you said you're not going to do it again, there's always that lure, right, Teddy? And that's the bottom line.
I would hate to see. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Teddy.
Well, you take Kurt Angle and Edge, two guys that were certainly told by their doctors, do not, get back in the ring. And you see what they did. Both of them are back in the ring now. So that's why I say you just don't ever know, what these guys will do. But
But you know, at Hogan's age, though, I mean, when you really take into account his age, I don't see any amount of money that's worth falling down on that back, going through more surgeries later on in life and dealing with that pain. He already knows what the effects are because he's dealing with it now currently with back surgery after back surgery. I would think by now, his look, he still looks like Hulk Hogan. I mean, I'm sorry. He just doesn't seem to age that much. I don't think I need to see him wrestle. I think I can see him and go, man, that's Hulk Hogan. I remember when, he did this. I don't want to go. I remember when he got in this ring. Oh God, it was horrible. I don't want to see it end that way.
Well, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see because you never know.
One fan sent me a text, and he said, with Ric Flair looking old in the ring, trying that, he called him Jerry at Ric Flair.
Yeah,
and that hurt me because I didn't want to see Ric Flair like that.
And the difference between Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan to me is the health factor. Ric Flair pretty much has been healthy outside of his near-death experience, but body-wise, from being beat up in the ring, he handles himself pretty good. Hogan wasn't the case. Hogan's had so many surgeries that that's why I just don't see him doing a return or retirement match, one last match, not unless he's really hard up for money because it's just not worth it on his body.
All right, let me ask you both this question, okay? Hypothetically, if the match happened, let's say a year down the line, this Hogan's feeling better, Stone Cold says, hey, we're going to make some money with this. What do we do with it? What's the finish? Teddy?
I don't have a finish for it because I don't even see it happening.
But hypothetically, if it happened, I would say, oh God, you'd have to a double count out something, because I just can't imagine that you'll see a stunner and Hogan go to a 3 count or Hogan with a leg drop and Steve going to a 3 count. I don't see that.
If you want to protect both of them, all you do is maybe have a 20-minute time limit, let it go the whole 20.
Yeah, make it like old timers day at the ballpark.
Well, wait a minute. If Vince McMahon is still hanging around in the corridors anywhere, wouldn't that be a perfect spot for him to show up at the end of the match and just screw them both somehow?
Oh, he could be the referee, and they could both attack him and pin his shoulders and both hold their arms up and walk out of the ring.
Yeah, because there's somewhere in the story, because he's got heat with both those guys. That would be a great way to end that without either one losing.
You just gave me the finish.
What is it?
Stone Cold stuns the referee. Hogan leg drops him. It's over. They both get to do their patented finishes.
That works for me. How about you, Teddy?
Yeah, I like that.
I do too.
Yeah, I like that.
Put in the book.
And Vince could take that. He'd love to do that.
Oh yeah. And he can still do it. I don't care how old he is. I don't think there's ever a point where Vince would say no. He'd do it anyhow. And I think there needs to come a time somewhere, if Vince is still with the company, he does need to make a pop-in appearance at some point just to acknowledge to the fans, I'm still here. That'd be a great place to do it because it's all part of a storyline. So,
well, whether that be a good place or not, Vince is going to establish that anyway, sooner or later.
Yeah. What do you fans think, by the way? Let us know. Hogan versus Stone Cold in their prime. Let's say, who do you pick to finish?
Leave it down below. Yeah. And also subscribe while you're down there doing that.